What's up, guys? It is Sam here, and tonight I have something super special for you where we're going to go into another round of our Google rankings where we take all the candidates that are running for the Democratic candidate for president, or the candidates that were in the last debate, we'll say, and we stack rank them based upon the search volume on Google. And this is the 5th or 6th edition of this. So, stay tuned for that. And if this is your first time here, what's good? My name is Sam. And for those of you who are returning, it's good to frickin' see you. All right, let's get into it. So, where do we get this data from? Google Trends. Google Trends is it tracks all of the search volume on Google. So, anytime somebody searches a term or phrase, it gets logged, right? So you can put in that phrase, as I have done here with the candidates across the top. I put in the names for the candidates to search for. And then over here we have by country. So I have the United States pulled up. I have the past 12 months, and I have the web search. So this is going to be Google. And we looked over the last 12 months, but I looked over two other time periods as well. We looked at the 12 months, and we stacked ranked them 1 through 11 for the candidates who are running for president. Then we did it at the 3-month mark, and we did it again, stacked ranked them from 1 through 11. And then we did it again at the 30-day, 1 through 11. And then we took an average of all those, where 25% of the average comes from the 12-month, 25% comes from the 3-month, and 50% comes from the 30-day. And the reason or the logic behind using 50% of the data from the 30-day versus the 90-day or the 365 is because the most recent data is the most relevant. That's actually what America is thinking about, right? Because they're actually interested in searching enough for these terms as we've outlaid here. So why on Google, real quick, is just because this is Wikipedia's page, and they have Alexa right here, top world, the global sites, and Similar Web, top 50 sites. And both of them, Google is ranked number 1, as in number 1 in the world, the biggest website on the frickin' planet. So they've got a tremendous amount of data from these searches, right? There's like something like 5.6 billion searches on Google per day. So there's a tremendous amount of data that is there. And I took all of this together and put into a spreadsheet and came up with this. So the top 5, according to Google, web-based search on the 12-month, the 3-month, and the 1-month. Number 1 overall is Bernie Sanders, followed by Elizabeth Warren, and fuck, I messed it up, but it actually Miss Gabbard is actually number 3, not number 2. So you can just scratch that. I apologize. Look over here. This is where she's actually ranked, number 3, with Joe Biden being in 4th place and Andrew Yang being in 5th place. So that gives us the top 5 candidates who the American public are actually interested in looking into, right? And I want to draw your attention to some interesting things here. First of all, I want to see who lost spots. So the last time I did this was about 20 days ago on 10/21/2019. And we can see that Andrew Yang lost an additional spot. So this is the second time I've done this where Andrew Yang has been losing steam on Google search volume. So I'm not sure if his momentum is waning. I guess we'll see over the next several weeks. But he's definitely losing ground. Kamala Harris again loses another spot. What's super interesting, and what I've been saying on some of these other videos, if you've been following along, where we do the similar type of analysis on other people's social or their website or the YouTube search volume. So if you want to check out those videos, go back to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. But what I've been seeing is that Joe Biden has been slipping on all of the 7 different factors in our overall national power ranking. And I was thinking that if he doesn't get some shit together soon, that Joe Biden's probably going to be out of the top 5, according to the data that I am looking at here. But what's because he lost 2 spots in just a month. That's a lot. I feel like, yeah, it's a lot. I mean, but you know what's also a shitload is Gabbard. She increased 3 spots. She's number 3. Like that's incredible. I apologize that I messed up that graphic. I have to make all these. And she's number 3. She's moved up 3 spots, right? Like we were just talking about how large Joe Biden lost, but Gabbard moved up 3 spots. So her move is just gargantuan in magnitude relative to everybody else's, and she moved up a lot of spots. So there's a tremendous amount of interest around Gabbard and where she is in terms of uh, relevance in the American mind at this moment. So I would love to hear your thoughts down below. And if you do leave a comment down below, use the hashtag Stolt just as the channel name, and I will have an easier time looking for it, because at the end of these videos, I actually like to go through here and search for videos that have hashtag Stolt on them and answer some of the comments and or questions. So let's jump in here, and this is from Halfbreed0202. What's good? First of all. Second of all, dude, you are such a genius. Why, thank you. I actually believe I am. Why don't you revamp the polling system, sell it to the government or to the media? You'll be rich, dude. I think that's a interesting idea. I think that if anybody is watching this and knows anybody who works in their local news station and they want some actually interesting news, like please connect me with them. I think I can provide value if they're your local news, like you know, TV or radio or whatever the case is, has talks about politics. Like connect me with them and I can provide them value by talking about and showing this data to them. That way their audience is going to enjoy it, because I think that there's um, a lot of opportunity for people to start understanding what is happening online versus what is told to us that is happening elsewhere through very objective I'm sorry, very bias prone polling data. But thank you so much for that. If anybody knows anybody, please contact me. Chris Baker, what's good, Chris? How you doing, brother? I've been saying this about traditional polling. It's just magnificent that you've come up with this, because it's almost exactly what I expected. Good work. Oh, thanks, brother. I really appreciate that. That is in regards to the national polling video that I did on Andrew Yang, where the power rankings, which I was covering in that video, specifically targeting Andrew Yang, but the power rankings, as we've created them here, have 7 different factors, right? With the objective of trying to understand who the American public is actually most interested in, right? Like we hear this polling data, but if you if you studied statistics, like statistics will say that like if you have this amount of data collected, you have something that should be statistically significant in terms of predicting the population amounts from that, right? Like estimating, using that to extrapolate out, right, within a certain margin of error. And when you look at that, where you might have 600 or a couple thousand people that are giving their opinion on a poll versus like what we're doing here, I think it's just clearly evident that this has a shitload more data and a shitload more people and way more representative of what the actual American public is thinking. Google's the #1 site on the freaking planet. There's so much data there. Anyways, these 7 different factors, we start with the Google, as we did today. Then we get into the YouTube search volume, similarly to this. Then we look at their website, stack rank each person's website. Then we take a look at their Facebook page and we rank their Facebook page. Then we take a look at their Twitter and we do the same thing based on like followers and whatnot and the amount of work that they are putting in. And then the same thing in an objective way to measured work. And on Facebook, we do the same, their YouTube channel, we do the same thing. And the last factor that we take a look at is the donations for each candidate, and we look at different factors that try to understand who has the most support from the largest group of the population, and we do this through using something like the highest we stack rank the highest percentage of people who have donations from people with less than $200 donated, like small donors, because I think that when you look at the data, where the data says something like 60% of all American families could not handle like a $500 emergency expense, and they'd have to put it onto a credit card. Like when you think about that for 60% of the population, and then you think about that somebody might have a large portion of, or the highest portion of donors from a people who are small donors, less than $200, you can think about the magnitude of that, because I'm sure that's not all from the 40% of people who can handle a $500 expense. But anyways, there's a bunch of other awesome comments in here, but I don't want to drag this out. If you guys want to see a separate video where we kind of just work through some of this dialogue, and maybe we can make that into a series or something, let me know down below in the comments, because I was thinking that might be an interesting dialogue to have, is where we just use the hashtag Stolt and we work through some of these comments. If you want to see something like that, let me know down below in the comments. I appreciate your feedback.